Truck driver disappeared after refueling in 1994. 30 years later, his route log was found jammed behind the gas station's ice machine. Hello, my viewers. Welcome to the channel. We are just getting started, and your support means a lot. If you enjoy the stories, please consider subscribing and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for being here. It was an accident that uncovered it, a detail that had been pressed into silence for 30 years, behind an ice machine, at a closed-down gas station in Ashwood County. The building had been gutted years earlier. The sign still hung sideways, rust flaking off each corner, the glass half punched in. No one came there anymore, not even the county cleanup crews. But someone had called it in. A leak. Coolant spilling through the cement, pooling under the wall. The tech wasn't looking for anything. He just pulled the machine back, expecting mildew, maybe a nest of something. But there it was, wedged between the drywall and a rusted pipe, warped by time, edges swollen with mold. A notebook. It clattered to the ground, bounced once, spilled open. They almost threw it away. Then someone flipped to the final page and saw the handwriting. Block letters, blue ink, shaky, uneven. Something's wrong. I think I'm being followed. If I don't check in. It ends right there. No punctuation, no date, no signature, just silence. But the paper? It matched the route logbooks used by Blue Creek Freight Company. Same type, same binding. A company that hadn't operated since 1996. The notebook was listed in evidence once, in a box marked missing. So was the man who wrote it. Franklin Wyatt, truck driver, husband, father. Last seen, March 14th, 1994. The stop was routine. Textile shipment, Northwest Corridor, Ashwood to Redleaf, via Route 18 West. Wyatt stopped for gas at Goldstream Station. Topped off his tank, bought a coffee, asked the clerk for change, then walked outside, toward the payphone. He never made the call. When the truck was found the next morning, it was parked just off the lot. Engine off, doors locked. The keys were still in the ignition. Thermos upright in the console. CB radio humming static. No sign of struggle. No signs at all. What stuck with investigators was the neatness. His boots tucked against the doorwell. His receipts folded. The seat adjusted to his exact height. Everything suggested a man who had planned to return, and then didn't. His wife, Marla, reported him missing the next day. She hadn't slept. Said he always called before the overnight leg. Always. Their son, Evan, waited on the porch that night. Waited until the sun rose. Then again the next night. Then again. He stopped waiting after the first snow. In 30 years, no remains were found. No sightings. No new leads. The tape from the diner, grainy and black and white, was the last confirmed footage. March 14th, 8:23 p.m. Franklin Wyatt sits in a booth at the back of the lot. He drinks his coffee, pays in cash, nods to someone off-screen, then walks out. There's another figure. Blurred. No details. Just the shape of someone watching from the far side of the window. Then Wyatt exits. The door closes, and the tape cuts. The payphone was dismantled in '98, but the booth still stands. Cracked glass. Graffiti faded into dust. Someone carved a name into the metal siding. Wyatt. Just like that. A question. A name left behind. The station closed permanently 3 years later. And still, the mirror in the back office remained. Mounted. Untouched. Glass slightly warped. Not shattered. Just wrong. When viewed at the right angle, the reflection appears off by a few degrees. Like the room behind you has been replaced. Scratched into the corner of the frame. March 14th. Still waiting. The tapes weren't recovered until years later. Found in a mislabeled evidence locker. 2 reels. One was blank. The other contained road noise. Long stretches of silence. Wind against metal. Then, a voice. Low. Breathing unsteady. Confirmed to match Franklin Wyatt. Still behind me. No headlights now. Just dark. Just shapes. If this cuts, tell Marla. They're not letting me off this road. then static, unbroken, until the tape ends. March 14th, 1994. Route 18. At mile marker 73, there's a patch of woods. Nothing special. No trailhead. No signs. But it's where the signal dropped. Where the call never went through. Where the truck sat, quietly cooling, while the driver vanished. In the cab, they found a folded map. Hand-drawn. Edges smudged with oil. Not of the highway. Not of Missouri. A curved road. A trail leading behind the station. Marked with one word. Down. And in the corner, in red ink, looks like the back of the station. No such trail existed. At least not above ground. In 1995, a year later, cadavered dogs hid on a patch of disturbed earth behind the woods. No body. No remains. Just a circle of scorched grass. 12 feet wide. Perfectly shaped. There were no fire reports that day. No matches on record. The CB logbook recorded a partial transmission from Wyatt that night. One ring. Then static. Then silence. The thermos was later tested. Coffee inside. Still partially warm when recovered. Suggesting a disappearance within minutes of parking. But the lid was twisted on tightly. Too tightly to be done in a rush. Investigators noted something else. The passenger seatbelt was buckled. Wyatt always drove alone. The recovered notebook, the one behind the ice machine, was kept sealed in evidence until this year. Warped. Illegible in parts. But the last page was never meant to be seen. Something's wrong. I think I'm being followed. If I don't check in. There's a faint line beneath it. Pressed by hand, maybe. Indistinct. Just pressure on paper. A curve. Like a road. Ending at a point. Like a triangle. That triangle appears nowhere else in the notebook. Not in the station's log. Not on the route map. Except one place. Burned faintly into the edge of the page. As if from heat. Or light. Or something pressed. From the other side. Franklin Wyatt disappeared in 1994. But someone, or something, has been waiting ever since. Waiting in the walls. In the glass. In the space behind reflections. That don't quite look like us. The road didn't end for him. It simply turned. And whatever it turned into has been watching ever since. The recorder they found behind the ice machine was old, but not broken. The cassette was already loaded. Dirt in the grooves. Mildew inside the case. Still it played. The first 17 minutes are silence. Then, static. And breath. Low. Shallow. Measured. Then a voice. Worn. It matches Franklin Wyatt's. Only slower. I'm not sure how far I've gone. Trees on both sides. But no sky. No stars. Like the light won't go up anymore. A pause. I thought I saw someone. In the mirror. Only the road behind me was gone. Then static. And this. A faint metallic click. Like something opening. When the station was torn down in 97. No basement was ever reported. No structural blueprints found. But behind the woods. At the back edge of the lot. A partial foundation remains. Unearthed in May. 6 concrete slabs. Buried in a hexagonal pattern. Not part of any registered build. The soil beneath it collapsed. As if something once stood there. Or still does. An excavation team scanned the perimeter. What they found was impossible. A corridor. Built underground. Walled in stone. Crude. Seamless. Curved. It led nowhere. Dead end. But someone had walked there recently. Footprints in the dust. Only one set. Size 12. Boot tread. Matched. Exactly. To the brand Wyatt wore in 1994. That model hasn't been manufactured in decades. So the question is, who was walking down there? Last week, a notebook was recovered from the passenger seat of the truck, sealed in a bag that was never cataloged. Its contents were dismissed at the time. Routine entries, fuel logs. But there was one page, dated 2 days before Wyatt vanished. It reads, "Something's off about this route. Like I've already driven it, but in reverse." The handwriting is steady, but the ink is smeared. Not from water, from heat. A torn matchbook was wedged in the centerfold. Front reads, Mirror in Ashwood. No record of any such place. No registry, no building, no sign. But it shows up again, on a receipt from a rest stop diner, timestamped just 1 hour before Wyatt vanished. Under itemized notes. Black coffee, turkey club, matchbook comp. No staff remember giving it to him. No inventory shows it ever existed. An anonymous tip was mailed to the Ashwood Sheriff's Office in 2004. No return address. Just a single sentence written on lined paper. Check behind the mirror. No one knew what it meant. The note was filed and forgotten. But behind the mirror in the back office, the one still mounted when the station closed, they found tape residue, as if something had once been stuck there. In a nearby drainage ditch, a charred object was recovered in July. Plastic. Melted. Forensics reconstructed it. A tape recorder. Inside, a fragment of audio. Only 4 seconds survived. A man's voice. Not a dream. Not a dream. Nada. Then silence. The Goldstream clerk on duty that night never gave a full statement. His name was Brian Merrow. He quit the next day. Moved out of state. Never answered follow-ups. He died in 2011. His daughter found something strange in a box of his things. A post-it note. Faded. On it, he had written. He asked if anyone else had been by tonight. I said no. He stared out the window. Then he said, That's not what the mirror said. Franklin Wyatt's family didn't speak publicly again. Not for years. Until 2020, when Evan turned 40. He returned to Ashwood. Stayed at the motel off Route 18. In the middle of the night, he says he woke to the sound of static. But there was no TV. No radio. No power. Just static. And one word, spoken clearly, but from inside the mirror. Dad. He reported it the next day. Local police took no action. But Evan never went back. Back at the excavation site, engineers tried to explain the hallway. It isn't part of any local build. Stone architecture, not concrete. And beneath the dust, embedded into one wall, was a single symbol. A triangle. Upside down. Etched by hand. And beneath it, the initials FW. Forensics confirmed no tool marks. Just the pressure of something pressed into stone. As if drawn. Or burned. The triangle appeared again. In Wyatt's map. In the margins of his route notes. On the back of a fuel receipt. From 2 weeks earlier. They asked Marla if the triangle meant anything. She said yes. It was how Franklin marked detours. But he only used it once. On a road that didn't exist. The voice on the tape. The one behind the ice machine. Was analyzed in July. No digital manipulation. No evidence of layering. But toward the end, the pitch begins to fall. His breathing slows. And one final sentence is spoken. I looked up. The sky was gone. Only glass. I'm still inside it. They say sound can't escape a sealed chamber. But somehow, his voice did. It waited 30 years. Trapped in rust and plastic. And when the cassette spun again, it brought something else with it. Not an answer. Not a message. Just a presence. Still, on the line. The notebook wasn't the only thing that surfaced. There was a second tape. Unmarked. No label. Found sealed in plastic. Buried in a field just north of the old station site. It shouldn't have survived. But it did. And it played. The voice on it. You can hear the difference. It's still Wyatt. But the way he speaks. It's like he's not speaking to us. He's talking to something else. Or maybe to himself. It loops. I've seen that same tree 7 times. The one with the broken branch. Only now there's no leaves. Or maybe I'm losing hours. I blink and sky's wrong. A pause. Breathing. Quiet. I looked in the rear view. And the road kept going. But I wasn't in the seat anymore. He starts to cry. Then laughs. Then silence. At the 22-minute mark, a knock. 2 knocks. Then metal dragging on concrete. The sound was traced. Matched to an old delivery bay door. From the back of the gas station. But that door was removed in 1998. At the edge of the excavation site, construction workers unearthed something strange. 2 mirrors. Buried. One cracked. one completely intact, positioned to face each other. No explanation. And in the soil between them, a bundle of audio tape, unspooled, kinked, torn, but one word could still be read. Check in. The third photograph surfaced a week later. No one claimed responsibility. It was mailed to the sheriff's department. Inside a plain envelope, a photo of the same woods near mile 73. But in this one, a truck, Wyatt's make, same stripe, same decal, parked in the exact place it was found. Only this time, the driver's side door is open, and in the reflection of the side mirror, a person is visible, standing just behind the cab. But no one's there in the photo itself. Only in the mirror. The diner footage was enhanced again, and something new appeared. When Wyatt leaves the booth, there's a shape in the glass. The window behind him shows two people walking, but only one ever exited the building. In the basement of the Ashwood County Courthouse, a building inspector's sketch from 1975 was discovered, a rough outline of the original Goldstream station. And there, off to the side, a note in red ink, "Do not dig void beneath." It was never followed up. The next page was missing. Marla Wyatt had one more item she never turned over, a note folded inside a cookbook, written in her husband's hand, dated March 12th, 2 days before he vanished. Don't trust the reflections. They know when you're alone. It's not just showing me anymore. It's learning. At the bottom, the same triangle, drawn in blue ink, upside down, this time, with a crack through it. A new lead came from a retired dispatcher. He remembered something odd. The night Wyatt went missing, the call came through, but not from where they expected, not from Goldstream. The origin traced to an unlisted number, a dead line, shut off in 1985. It shouldn't have worked, but for 8 seconds, it did. The phone call was recorded, part of a routine backup, and in that short window, a sound came through. Not a voice, not exactly, just the sound of wheels, turning, slowly, and then a click, like a door shutting behind someone. Evan Wyatt said he found something, after moving his father's truck into storage. A map, different from the one found earlier. This one was drawn on the back of a blueprint of the house he grew up in. But the blueprint didn't match the real house. There were extra rooms, hallways that don't exist, doors that never led anywhere. One labeled, Mirror 3, not for use. They asked Marla. She froze, said they had found a wall behind the bathroom mirror. During renovations in 1993, they never broke through, just painted over it. When investigators returned to the Wyatt home, they scanned the wall. Beneath the plaster, a hollow space, 4 feet wide, 7 feet tall. Inside, nothing, except a frame, empty, as if waiting for something to be mounted, or returned. The photo that haunted the tech team most was found wedged in the original logbook, an old Polaroid, undeveloped at first, but when processed, it shows the diner booth, Wyatt sitting in profile, head turned mid-sentence. But he's alone, except, in the silver napkin holder, a second face appears, distorted, blurred, mouth wide open, but no one else is in the room. No explanation. And the napkin holder? That model didn't exist until 5 years later. In the Ashwood County Archives, a burned file was recovered from a fire in 1999. Water damaged, half legible, but one sentence remained. The house wasn't designed around people. It was designed around mirrors. No signature, no address, no confirmation of who wrote it, but behind it, a scrap of tape, sealed between pages. An audio fragment plays. Only one word, reverse. And then, footsteps, getting closer. The hallway beneath the station was sealed again, but the sensor lights flicker every third night. No animals, no wind, no entry. Still, the light comes on, and the camera records. Only once has it caught anything visible. A reflection, on concrete, moving, without a source. 3 decades, and the house still holds its breath. The tape still plays, even without power, and somewhere in a hallway. That doesn't exist on paper. Something paces, Watching, waiting, repeating. They returned to the diner. Not for the food, not for the booth, but for the mirror, the one behind the counter, still mounted after all these years. Warped, angled, cleaned so many times, it should have faded. But it hadn't. It reflected clearly. Too clearly. Except when you stood directly in front of it. Then, the background shifted. Minutely, but undeniably. The angle of the exit sign curved. The coffee machine blurred. And sometimes, a figure appeared in the doorway. For just a breath. Gone when you turned around. Evan Wyatt went alone. He asked to sit in the same booth. Didn't order anything. Just waited. 26 minutes in. The power surged. Lights flickered. A glass cracked. And the mirror, for a moment, went completely black. Not dark. Black. Like it wasn't a mirror at all. But an opening. A surface. Pressed shut. He left without saying a word. Later, he told investigators he'd seen his father. But not as he remembered him. Not alive. Not dead. Just paused. Like a figure mid-motion. Caught between frames. Mouth slightly open. As if speaking. But not allowed to finish. That same night, a new cassette tape arrived. Unmarked. Mailed to the archive office. No fingerprints. No return address. It began mid-recording. A voice. Breathy. Cautious. Not Franklin. He wasn't alone in that truck. Something rode with him. It watched him sleep. Watched him drive. It only stopped watching when he looked in the mirror. Then static. A second voice. Low. Layered. Like breath through glass. Still westbound. Can't see the road anymore. Everything behind me is the same. If I turn the mirror again, I won't come back. Click. Silence. The forensic team scanned the mirror from the diner. Found a thin residue. Unlike dust. Unlike grease. Almost magnetic. They wiped it. The next day, it reappeared. In the shape of a handprint. But only from inside the glass. They called it the loop. A theory. That Franklin Wyatt never left the road. That the road simply stopped existing. In the way we understand it. That somewhere between the phone call and the parking brake, he crossed into a reflection. A place that mimics us. Almost. But not quite. One photograph emerged that shifted everything. Taken in 1991. Franklin Marla Evan. Posing in front of the truck. Family trip. Pre-route. Ordinary. But in the mirror of the truck door, a fourth person stands. Too tall. Wrong face. Mouth open. Eyes entirely blacked out. It's not a defect. The photo's in perfect condition. And no one remembers anyone else being there. In the garage beneath the courthouse, a blueprint of the original diner surfaced. One detail stood out. Behind the booth, where Franklin sat, a crawl space. No longer there. Walden sometime in the 80s. No record of why. No permit for demolition. Just gone. Covered. But still drawing power. The wires run into it. Lights blink on behind the wall. Once a month. Exactly at 3:14 a.m. They scanned it. Thermal imaging. Radar. Nothing. Just an absence. Like the space refused to reflect. Not empty. Just unreadable. As if the structure had been rewritten. In Marla's attic, they found a sealed box. Marked in tape. Not for Evan. Inside, 3 drawings. Childlike. Crayon on folded paper. Each showed a truck. Same road. Same bend. Different outcomes. In the first, the truck drives off the map. In the second, it's upside down. Floating above a mirror. In the third, the truck is gone. Only the reflection remains. And inside that reflection, 2 faces. Neither of them human. The date stamp on the drawings. March 10th, 1994. For days before the disappearance. Evan was 12. When asked, he said, "I don't remember drawing those, but I remember the dream." In the dream, he said his father came home. Wet. Eyes wide. Clothes the wrong color. He didn't say anything. Just stared into the hallway mirror. Then whispered, "They don't copy your voice right. They always get the breathing wrong." Evan said he asked his father where he had been. His father didn't answer. just smiled. And in the reflection, he was still frowning. That was the last dream Evan ever had, with his father in it. The payphone booth was removed in 1998. Sold. Disassembled. But a collector found the glass panel online. Still intact. Still stained with the carvings. And when light hits it, from the correct angle, a message appears. If I don't check in, tell her not to look in the mirror. It's still open. One of the officers, reviewing the booth glass under UV light, collapsed. Said he felt like the reflection was looking at him sideways. Said it blinked. He doesn't work on the case anymore. He refuses to have mirrors in his home. The corridor beneath the station was sealed again. Concrete poured. Chain link fence installed. No one's allowed in. But every 6 days, motion sensors trigger. Lights go on. Brief flickers. And then, the sound of footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. 2 sets. One always just a half beat behind the other. Franklin Wyatt's final known route has been reconstructed, but no GPS data exists past the turnoff at mile 73. His logbook ends there. His map ends there. His voice ends there. But something else begins. Something that watches from the far end of reflection. Something that knows how to follow, but not how to speak. Not yet, but it's learning. 30 years. No new suspects. No confirmed sightings. No physical remains. But Franklin Wyatt never really disappeared. Not completely. Because something kept surfacing. Something kept responding. Like the road was still open. But only in one direction. The mirror recovered from the attic, the one Evan had sealed away, was tested again. It shouldn't have worked. No electronics. No connection. But when placed under certain light, and viewed from the left, the reflection stuttered. Not the room. Not the objects. Just the person. The researcher reviewing the footage leaned forward at the wrong moment, and saw herself blink, before she had. A half-second early. Her reflection wasn't synced. She quit the project the next day. Left a note. Mirrors aren't passive. They remember the versions we leave behind. There were 29 total recordings recovered. Tapes. Voicemails. Fragments on magnetic ribbon. Not all were Franklin. Some didn't have voices at all. Just breathing. Always too close. Always too slow. One tape, undated, played only this. I can't find my mouth. I feel it speaking. But the words are behind me. Then scratching. Metal. Stone. Teeth. They dug again in October. Just once. West of the diner. Near the woods. Near the triangle marked on the last remaining map. They didn't find remains. But they found space. A concrete shaft. 6 feet wide. 12 feet deep. Empty. Except for the walls. Covered in scratches. Nail marks. And writing. Over and over. One phrase. I made it out. But I didn't come back. Evan went back one final time. Insisted on it. He asked for 10 minutes alone in the booth. He brought the mirror from the attic. Set it across from a window. He angled the glass. Turned off the lights. Sat down. Pressed play on the last tape. Silence for 7 minutes. Then breathing. Then his father's voice. But this time, it wasn't recorded. The mic wasn't on. Nothing was playing. But Evan heard it. They let me through. But not all the way. You'll know it's me when the mirror breathes back. They found Evan sitting upright. Eyes open. Breathing shallow. The tape was still rewinding. On the glass of the mirror. A handprint. But not his. Too large. Wrong angle. Pressed from the inside. They sealed the booth again. No one's allowed back. But the mirror remains. And the handprint fades in. Every evening. At 8:23 p.m. The exact time Franklin Wyatt left the diner. The last time anyone saw him. Outside the glass. The truck was never reclaimed. Still in evidence. Still smells faintly of burned tape. The thermos hasn't gone cold. Every year. On March 14th. The coffee inside. Is warm. Just for that day. Then it goes back. Lukewarm. Stale. Empty. They tested the audio one final time. Using filters designed for low-frequency imprinting. One waveform showed a pattern. A shape. A road. Curving. dipping, looping back, until it formed a triangle, open at the top, as if something could still come through. They say reflections are light bouncing back. But what if they're not bouncing? What if they're pulling? What if we were never meant to look so long? Marla moved away. She doesn't speak to the press, doesn't answer the door. But someone found a note taped to her window, written in what looked like charcoal or ash. He found the turn. The road didn't end, but the world did. The final recording isn't public. It's locked in evidence, labeled only FWNL. It plays a short message, a whisper, clipped. I'm in the mirror, but I'm not me. Don't let it learn your voice. That's the question no one wants to ask. What happens when it does? There were blueprints found last month, of the station, of the diner, of the Wyatt home. But this time, they weren't copies. They were hand-drawn, stamped with the same triangle, same handwriting, same initials, FW. But the paper's brand didn't exist until 2023. If Franklin drew those plans, he drew them from the other side, meaning he's still watching. Or someone wearing his voice is. The silence hasn't ended. It just became routine. We stopped asking why the lights flicker, stopped wondering what the static meant, stopped noticing when mirrors held on a little too long. But the evidence remains. The logbook, the tape, the reflection that blinks a half-second too early. Franklin Wyatt didn't vanish. Not fully. He made a turn no one else saw, took a road that wasn't on any map. And now, something waits at the end of it. Not for rescue, not for help, but for attention. Because whatever's inside the mirror has learned how to listen. And if it's listening, it might not be far from speaking. Some say the triangle was a symbol, a marker, a warning. Others say it was a door, or worse, an invitation. No one knows where the last cassette came from. It was left on a bench, outside the courthouse. No casing, no note, just one word scrawled into the tape itself. Check in. And if you play it in reverse, you hear a voice. Faint, distant, warped, but still recognizable. If I make it through, don't let them close the mirror. It's the only way back. But there's no timestamp, no date, so no one knows if the message was sent in time, or if we're already too late. Subscribe for more unsolved disappearances and forgotten cases. And if you ever find a cassette that wasn't yours, don't press play.